All right, family. Coming in to get everything popping. I know family going. It's gonna take family a minute to get in here. You see, but we going live at this moment. You see, and we just all the family that's already on deck. Y'all just hold it down for a second, and let me see if I can get some music up here, and we gonna rock out. It ain't gonna take us much longer. 3 o'clock. We just gonna give we gonna give family to about 3 o'clock. We got about three platforms. Three platforms. You see that we broadcasting on. We got our members on YouTube. We got family that paid through Ticket League, and we got Patreon. So we gonna be on deck. You feel me? So y'all give it to about. We ain't waiting no later than 3 o'clock. So we got about 7 minutes. So y'all just hold it down, and we'll be ready to start shortly. Peace. Let's see how we looking, family. Family on deck. We about to get started. Give me two. What time? At 3:04. Let's get started. Let me close. Let me get everything together, and we about to get busy. All right. Mm-mm. All right, family. Great minds at work. Great minds at work. Had to go in there and get all that I needed. Stacking it up. Stacking it up. Well, goddamn, let me see. Check all platforms. See them. Yeah. Okay, we on all platforms. Let me see. Okay. We're in the house. All right, we on all platforms. Okay, good. Everybody that need to be here is here. All right. Now today, we about to have some fun. You see, we about to have some fun. The general about to work out. We dealing with the sacred black art of alchemy, the divinity of blackness codified in language. These are particular etymologies that define a particular thing that you're not aware of. You see, a particular cosmic entity, a particular people, but they use codified prefix, suffix, word origins. And if you don't have the information, on what it means, then you reading on the surface level. And you might become disoriented with the information totally. You see, not understanding that in the codification is discussing you. It's discussing you and your blackness and your divinity. And we're going to break it down today. And like I say, let's get started. Matter of fact, let me get in here. Which one I'm going to start with first? Okay, this one. Ooh, fire. Oh, nothing but fire. When I brought it up, I just seen the power in it. Okay. When I brought it up, I just seen the power in it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we in the house. Now, as we begin to break down the manifestation of all these etymologies, and we're not gonna deal, we're gonna deal with the primary. Even though there's many, many more, and we just had to do this in stages. We can't do it all at once. But today, you most definitely gonna get some of the more profound word origins. Now, the one thing about our people, just like when you're dealing with ancient Kemet, you're dealing with ancient Nubia, you're dealing with any of our African civilizations, we have zoo types that are particular to our people. Just like when you got football teams. You got the Colts. You see what I'm saying? You got the Gators, the Florida Gators. You see? It's a zoo type that represent a team, represent a people, represent a state, represent a city. You see, that's what we have to understand. And the dragon, the phoenix, the serpent. Now, the thing is, what we have to understand is the duality in these things. There's a duality in these things also. You see, meaning that when you reverse polarities, you see, you got the dragon now, but you got the black dragon and you got the white dragon. You see, you got the black dragon and you got the white dragon. You see, now in that, see, when you deal with the term dragon and you deal with the etymology of O-N, and I'm gonna show you, and I guarantee you, if your God vision is is on, you're not at, you see how I say on? If your God vision is on, that means energy, you see, automatically. And if you study and listen to yourself, when you put these words into your head, every time you see them, you're going to begin to do research. I don't give a goddamn what word it is. You see, you're going to look into it, you see, and see if it's an attribute. You see, because a lot of times, it's not all the time, but a lot of the times it is. I don't want you to think every word, but a lot of them, you know, because when they put the language together, see, they got the codification. So they don't just put the word together just haphazardly. You see, you know, when they create the word, they create it with the codification, understanding the different etymologies in it. They don't just throw no damn letters together. That ain't how it works. You see? And so when we understanding that these zoo types, you see what I'm saying, are sacred to African people, and a lot of the word origins will speak to these zoo types. Now, when you talk about the black dragon and the white dragon, the particulars is this. The black dragon, which is the zoo type of African people, is powered by the sun. Okay? Now, the white dragon, you see, which is, you see, the sun is toxic to the white dragon. So when you talk about the black dragon, you talk about the white dragon. You're talking about diametric opposites. Just like the yin and the yang. They're diametric opposites. You see, in eternal warfare. You see, just like you order and chaos. You see, and so the black dragon, which is symbolic of black matter, you see, which is symbolic of melanin, it's powered by the SUN. Now the white dragon, where the SUN is toxic, his energy source is blood. Okay? And so understand that. Understand that when you get into when you're dealing with the characteristics of the black dragon. See, the black dragon, and they don't always have to be black, but that is the primary, you see, codification, because you're talking about metamorphosis. And so the dragon can metamorphosize. You see, and in there we just, you hear another one of the etymology, which we're going to zoom in on, is O-R. You see, we're going to zoom in on that because that speaks to dragon etymology. You see? And so you see metamorphosis, it was created with that because the dragon metamorphosizes. You see, and you hear the more. You see, which is black. You see, showing you that that's the energy source. That blackness is the energy source. So you see even more. It's deeper than just the color, because even inside of more, even the word M-O-R, 3 letters, and inside of it is 2 or 3 different meanings. You got the more, which is blackness, but within the more is the or, which speaks to the dragon. You see? So in there, not only do you have the primordial blackness, you got the solar origin inside of there. You see what I'm saying? So it speaks out of blackness, you see, came the light. So all of that is in you. The total aspect of creation is in you. And that's what we got to understand that. You see? But in the white dragon, see, that's because you see, and when you look at the characteristics, let's get some things. Let's get to move. Let me bring this right here. You see? Now, like I say, now another thing that when we talk about the dragon. He don't always have to be the dragon because he met him, you know, just like I went over Easter and people didn't, I had to break that down. See, the rabbit is a zoo type. If you go to ancient Egypt, you'll see a lot of the zoo types with the sun disk over their head. You see? And so whether it's the hippopotamus, whether it's the crocodile, whether it's the hawk, better yet, the falcon. See? Because we're going to break that down. When you see falcon, you see on the O-N on the end. How did I know that? Did I do the research for that? Yes, I did, to black it up. How did I know that that was symbolic of the sun? You see, he said, oh, well, on means the sun and this, that, and the third. And every time he see a word with on and that mean, you know, he how do he know that? That nigga just choosing words that end in O-N. You see, that's all the nigga doing. He choosing words. Is that what he doing? How did I know? Because when I looked I did the research on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. You see, now in that series, old Dumbledore, O-R, the dragon, you see, his arch nemesis, Voldemort, see, when you go in the underworld, the chief vampire is Victor. You see, they know what they do. See, it's the little mind that don't understand that. So and I'm gonna show you even in the Bible where Yahweh was depicted as the dragon. So the dragon was one of the most revered of all zoo types in the ancient world. Okay? Revered above and beyond most, if not all. You see? But when I looked into Harry Potter, the Phoenix was called Fox. F-A-W, I believe it's K-E-S. And I looked it up. I said, well, what does that mean? It was French for falcon. Now, this is a phoenix. You see? Fox. The phoenix name was Fox. And when you look it up, it's French for falcon. See? And so the O-N in that aspect is the sun. You see? So a lot of people don't understand that. And and so you got to understand you are the primordial. You see? You are the primordial. Not them. They playing house. It's your house. You see? It's your house. And so let's get into this. Now, when you talk about the Nemesis, see, we're going to prove beyond that this comes from ancient times. You see, this is not just something that we just come up with. This is not just something that Sarasu said he just created just the other day. This is ancient manifestation. Now, when you look at the Nemesis crown, it is a serpentine crown. You see? Let me get that together. You see? Representing the warrior king poised to strike. So when you look at the Nemesis crown, it represents the hood of the cobra. You see what I'm saying? When he go into a defensive state, you see he flares his hood, and that gives him the impression to his enemies that he's taller, that he's bigger. You see what I'm saying? And so, but he's most definitely in the position to strike. And you see right there sitting on the pineal is the Wajet. You see what I'm saying? Which is the African goddess Wajet, sitting right there on the pineal. And that's going to take us to a deeper level. You see, that's going to take us to a deeper level. You see, again, when you look and you see the Nemesis crown is a serpentine crown. So you got to understand, number one, that in the serpent and the dragon is one and the same. You see, I'll look it up. Matter of fact, where's that one at? That's why I got all my I just dropped all my top lectures on here. Let me see. Let me get all of them in here. Let me get them up here because oh, here they go. Okay. Where did I see that one? It might be here. Let me see. Okay. Is it in there? And we'll break this down too. And that's another one we got to go get into. Oh, but it ain't gonna be on this one. Is Dragon in there? Okay, I don't know why it's not. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay, so let's get off into this. Let's get off into this just to black this up. To black this up. Okay, now when you're looking at synonyms for serpent, you see. Now let me get that bigger. Okay, now you see snake. Now that term it could be a prefix, it could be a suffix. That na. See, as in naga. You will see that in words. You see, and if you don't do the etymology, if you don't look into it, you won't know. But if you look into it, you will see that there are some attributes. You see, many times it's not, but a lot of times it is. It's up to you to do the research. But if you already know some of the attributes, you know, a red flag will pop up in your head once you start looking with the God vision. Anytime you see a lot of these, it's going to automatically pop up. Look into it. You see what I'm saying? Because you know, based on what you already done, it's highly likely that it is connected. Viper. You see, Ophidian. You see now, Ophi. That's another one. Ophi, O-P-H-I. That's another dragon etymology, serpentine etymology. Ophi. Now, you got to be swift on your toes because many times they can switch some of the vowels up. You see? Now, if you go into seraphim, you see, when you go into the seraphim, which are the highest ranking orders, the O becomes an A. But when you look into it, the seraphim, what does it mean? Fiery serpents. It means fiery serpents. Look it up. Seraph, or S-E-R, seraph. That's the pronunciation. You see, they use that term also in the Bible because that's what they needed, the brazen serpent, because they had forsaken God. They had begun to speak against God. Now, we just speaking in terms. And so he sent the seraph to bite him, you see? And so then he say, put the seraph up on the pole. And so this is where you get seraphim. And so this is fiery serpents. So you can use A-P-H-I, you can use O-P-H-I. It's variations in that. But it all linked not just to a divine dragon serpent. You see a creator type serpent. You see? And so you get you see their dragon. See? Dragon. You see? Now when you go into monster, you see the O-N. You see you go into demon. You see the O. You got to understand, number one, that you don't have to accept that. But what is, see, because a lot of the words speak from a positive respect, some speak from a negative respect. So just because you see the on does not mean that's their interpretation of what it means to them. You see what I'm saying? So when they say demon, they're just like when you go up there and you see the sun. Wait a minute. When you see the angry sun, the evil sun, you see, that's what it means to them. But they still using the suffix, the prefix, the etymology to describe what it is that they hate. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of people when they look at let me show. This is what it really means to them. You see? So when you see demon, you see that right there. See? That's what it really means. Because there ain't no African people gonna do that. See, this is sacrilegious to do something like this. To defile the holy sun, the holy the solar energy of the universe. Let me take that out of there. I like doing that. See, that's sacrilegious, but it show you what it means to them, not what it means to you, but they still use the suffix or the prefix. You see what I'm saying? You know, to make the necessary understanding for them. So you got to understand that there's a white dragon and that there's a black dragon. And in Europe, the dragon is looked at as something that's evil, destructive. You see? Evil and destructive. And so this is where you get the term demon. And so this is where you get the on, even though it's solely represent, just like you, and when you go into Ragnarok, you got the fire demon, Surtur. You see, Surtur is the fire demon that brings the end of the Asgardian gods. If you watch Thor and you watch the one Ragnarok, then you see Surtur, the fire demon, come. You see, and and we breaking it down. Like I say, when you get to God vision, you're gonna look into all them words, and I'm gonna show you one right there. When I brought up Surtur, what did he do? How do you know Ragnarok is, which is the end of the world? How do you know it's about to start? When Surtur gets to Asgard, which is the home of Thor, Odin, all the gods, he finds the eternal flame. And when he finds the eternal flame, he put his sword into the flame. See, and you see right there the OR. You see, which is serpentine, which reflects back to the dragon. You will see many times where you will see the serpent wrapped around the sword. You see what I'm saying? So many things that are elongated, you see what I'm saying, are considered phallic or considered serpentine. You see, that's how that goes. So, just to show you as we move forward, let me show you. To black it up. I ain't gonna say nothing and don't black it up. I'm gonna black it up. Shit. Don't just say something and ain't gonna black it up. But there's somebody to say. So you see here. So you see the sword and you see the serpent. You see, serpentine is looked at as a is looked at as a instrument, a armament of the dragon. You see Surtur with the sword. You see what I'm saying? He's symbolic of the dragon. Now, in reflex of who we are, even though they portray him to be evil, in actuality, he doing us a goddamn favor. Shit. You see, he's symbolic of the sun. He just, but in their interpretation, he's a demon. In our interpretation, he's a god. You see? You see, he's a god. So so sword, let me put that in there and look it up. But you got to understand how that bring that down just a little bit. So the part of it that make it serpentine, and when we say serpentine, we mean in divinity, not just no little serpent. We talking about the great dragon. You see, we talking about the divine dragon. Let me just, what I'll do is I'll make that aspect of it a little bigger. So it's the OR in there, you see? And so you see the Pharaoh. I'm looking, okay. You see, and so you see the Naga, what they call the Naga, and we're going to deal with that. That's another divine etymology that you find all over the world, whether it's Naga, whether it's nigger, whether it's niggers, whether it's nagas. You see, you're going to see that there's another divine expression. I had to break that down. You see, but niggas was trapped. They didn't know nothing else but a negativity to speak. Even though wherever they go, wherever they went on the planet and they found the etymology, it was divine. The only place where it was evil when it was coming out the mouth of the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal. And they just show you that they can't accept no other expression. They looking through the eyes of the Neanderthal. They ain't got no God vision. They can look everywhere else and it's something divine. Nowhere else in the African world, Kushite world, Africa, Asia. When I speak of Asian, I'm not speaking of the Asian. I'm talking about the original Kushites, or what today is called Asia. You see, so it was an empire from Africa all through Southern Asia, all through the South Pacific, at a time when only the Kushite was in the land. These people that you see there today is no different than the European. You see, European, and even in there, you see, and so we had to look into the etymology of that. You see, because in essence, the is symbolic of the sun. So in essence, it's saying it's a lack thereof. See, there's a lack thereof in that. See, even in that, European. You see what I'm saying? There's something. And so in that, just like the demon, see, they're going to look at it from a negative aspect. So it's showing that there's a lack thereof. See, that's what I mean by having the God vision, where anything, where you hear it, you're going to be ready to do research to back it up, to see if it is true. You see, to see if it is true. And most times it's going to shock you that it is. And once you understand and you get, you know, man, you get the top 20 etymologies. You damn near got language. You damn near got the language on the planet. You don't even goddamn, at that point, you didn't reach a hell of a level. You see what I'm saying? You didn't reach the hell of a level because you can see how many words that they use, and they just use that particular, watch it. You see what I'm saying? Those particular suffixes, it's a lot of words that use that particular suffix over and over and over. Now, when you get off into just like the biblical, they use El in every damn thing. Michael, Gabriel, Azrael, you see, Elohim, you see, all of that, everything got that, Bethel, you see, you're going to see El and damn near everything, every word, you see, you're going to find El. If I say how many words that use El, and you go into the biblical understanding, you're going to find El, if you in a vast amount of words. You see, a vast amount of words, you're going to find El. Okay? And that just show you. So once you understand El, you got a very strong, and that's one of the etymologies. That's one of the etymologies that are speaking to Black divinity, because when you look at El, you'll see, wait a minute. If you just look up El, let me show you. I want you to believe me. I don't want you to think I'm making this shit up. I want you to believe me, because I can black it up. Now, when you see El, let me put this one in here. Let's bring complete and firm understanding immediately. See El? Now this is El. but he got on the crown of Upper Egypt. See? Got on the crown of Upper Egypt. Now, in this one, look at this one. He got on the Atef. Oh, they don't want to give me that one. I'm a screenshot it. That's all right. Let me see if they let me get this one. Then I don't have to do it. Okay, they let me get it. Okay, so here you seeing with the Atef crown. You see, that's one of the crowns of Osiris. That's one of the crowns of Osiris. You see, that's one of the crowns of Osiris. So when you go and you talk about El, you already know that's speaking to you. That's speaking to you. That's who El is. So when you see Michael, you see Gabriel, you see Elohim, and there's more than one etymology in Elohim. You see, we talked about we talked about I am, Mizraim, which is Egypt, Philistine, which is a giant, Nephilim, Seraphim. We broke that down. We're going to break it down again. That it was the African, it was the Cushite Ethiopian bloodline that was highly significant as far as the giants that were in the Bible. It was only through that bloodline. See, so when you see the I am, even in Nimrod, see, it's inside of his name. You don't even, it's Nimrod. See, you got to express it, Nimrod. And so even inside, so that signified that he was a giant. See, signified that he was a giant, but nobody ever known that. I did the research, and that's what they referred to Nimrod as. They referred to Nimrod as the giant hunter. But not as he was hunting giant, but he was a giant hunter. You see what I'm saying? But in the Bible, they tried to take that out because they knew that the giants were from the sons of God. They were from the sons of God, the Nephilim. When the Watchers, if you read in the book of Enoch, came into the daughters of men, and they had children, and them children was giants, and they called them the Nephilim. Now, the only bloodline in the Bible that uses the is Egypt and Cush, but more profoundly was Egypt, Mizraim, and all of his sons were suffixed with You see, Anamim, Lehabim, Kasulim. You see, all of these, from the Kasulim came the Philistine, where you get Goliath. You see? And so that means something because it only was suffixed. And sometimes you have to understand the suffix, the etymology can be inside of the word. You see what I'm saying? Understand that too. But when you talk about the Elohim, Seraphim, Cherubim, so only that which was divine was suffixed or prefixed with that So that's significant. That's significant. Showing that they looked at our people as being giants, not just only in stature, but in spirituality, in civilization, in all things, intellect, spirituality. They looked at us as giants. So it is a reality in the physical sense, and it's also in the mental, intellectual, spiritual sense that we were giants. So you have to understand that. And so when you look here, the dragon, you see the dragon was always, to show you that it was a bloodline. You see, it was a bloodline also because they showed the dragons wearing crowns. You see, they showed the dragons wearing crowns. Now I had that showing in ancient Egypt. Now I might already have it in there, but if not, as we move through that, I had it in there. So I don't know if I moved it over already or not. Okay. But that's all right. We're gonna move down. But well, matter of fact, what am I talking about? You see it right here. You see it right here. So you see the Pharaoh with the crown, the serpent with the crown to show that it is symbolic, and even with the Eastern Kush. You see, so when you see the dragon with the crown, you understand that it is symbolic of a people. It's only the zoo type of a people. You see, they got down, and so that's what it is. It represents African people. You see, we the solar archetype. The African people are the solar. That's why he hunts the dragon. You see, that's why he hunts the dragon. We look to to the dragon for wisdom. You see, and when you go, you're talking about now. This is another thing that we got to deal with, because when we talk about the orb, and we're gonna get down, I'm ahead of my time. We're gonna talk about the orb. Okay, now when we talk about orb, and you see the orb is in there, you see what is the orb, and you see how does that relate to the dragon. You see, how does it relate to the dragon? Because we just said that the orb is the sun, and when the Ouroboros bites it, he symbolically forms the sun. You see, he forms the sun. He's a protective coating of the earth. He's a protective coating of the sun. Now watch me. Now watch me now. Watch me now. Fort. You see? Now fort. A fortification. And what is that? A wall. You see? Now many times it could be square, but a lot of times it's circular. You see? A fort. And so what has the serpent created around the young African child? A fort. You see, so you see, even in the fort, there is some serpentine origin. There is some serpentine etymology. So the serpent represents immortality. That's what it represents. Immortality. Okay? Of the solar race, the sun race. The crown on the serpent represents the divine kingship, queenship of the sun race to rule the solar dominated realms of the earth. You see? And so that means that, all the tropical regions, and, this is our domain. This is our area of dominion. You see? Dominion. And so we have to understand that we are divinely ordained. And you see here, so you see the sun, but yet and still you see the African child. So that right there shows you that the S-O-N is still the S-U-N. They're one and the same. One is a cosmic manifestation. The other is a physical manifestation of the same frequency and energy. We are the manifestation of the sun in flesh. That's exactly what we are. We are the physical manifestation. Now, let's get into the occult of it, because we just said orb. And so what happened is, what you get is what they call the dragon egg. You see that? The dragon egg. And so the egg is the sun. The egg is the sun. And so you see the phoenix inside the egg. The egg is the sun. The phoenix is symbolic of the sun. The dragon is symbolic of the sun. You see? And so where you see the dragon, you see the African child. So one is a zoomorphic representation. The other is an anthropomorphic, symbolizing the same cosmic frequency and energy. So when they say the return of the dragon, the return of the phoenix, the return of the Christ, they're talking about the return of our people back to the preeminence of the populations on earth. That's what they talk. The return of the dragon is return of us. The return of the dragon is the return of Surta that come to bring Ragnarok. You see? They know what it is. They calling it global warming, but when they get into their occult understanding, they calling it something totally different. They calling it the end of days is what the hell they calling it. Let me check and make sure everybody is in that need to be in. Let me make sure everybody is in that needs to be in. Okay, let me get that out of there. Make sure our family in here now. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, we black. We black. Put that up there. Boom. Put that over there. Boom. All right. So we black again. We black again, family. Make sure everybody is in. Okay. And so that's symbolic of the dragon. You see? And so even when you start talking about, you see, when you see, see, they got to quit talking, because when you deal with the sorcerer, you see, what is this? The source or the sorcerer is the sun. You see, and so they're not this. So they can't use the same source that we use. You see, so when they use they magic and shit, they use blood. You see, we use solar energy. That's the most profound of all the energies. You see, is the sun. Now, but when you're dealing with the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal, who is toxic, where the sun is toxic, and we can black that up. We can black it up. Matter of fact, wait a minute, let me show you. Because we right there, and we might as well go on and drop it while it's hot. We might as well drop it while it's hot. Because we talk about the golem. You see, who had obtained the ring. You see, but he had obtained the ring, but it did something devastating to him. You see, when you talk about the orb, see, the orb is the sun. See, and the thing is, when you talk about the Christ, you see, and you talking about Jesus, and they say he died on the cross. He didn't just die on no wooden cross. He died. The white Christ is a symbolic of the white race. He's not just no individual. He's the white race. So when you see the white Christ died on the cross, you see what I'm saying? It's the solar cross, not just no wooden cross. It's the solar cross. So you got to think that was the first cross. Long before it, so when they talk about the Christ, it's symbolic of the sun. See, the S-O-N is the S-U-N. When you understand that, the son of the sun, the Sirach, the son of the sun. So now you understand this is where the term hell on earth derives from. You see, this is the next coming of the age of Ra, which they call in global warming. But just like you got an ice age, you got a solar age, you got a sun age. And you understand what I'm saying? Which will cause white people to flee under the earth, or they're going to perish. Either they're going to go up under the earth, which they are doing right now, or they're going to perish. So the orb, which you see, and you see the dragon. You see, he always had the orb. See, the sun, they shrink it a lot of times because this is a cult. You see, it's a cult. The fire that is breathed from the African and the Asian Kushite. You see, the Kushite Asian dragon, and I'm saying Asian only geographically. It's an African Kushite. When we speak Kush, we speak of Nubia. You see, we talking about that black Nubian. You see, so the orb is the sun. You see, we got to understand that. It's the O-R and it's the O-N. You see? And so when you get back and you deal with the so-called sorcerer, you see, and you see him using the orb, and you see the eye in the orb is the eye of the dragon. So just like they say, the eye of the tiger. You see, a lot of people don't understand that the tiger is also symbolic of the dragon. They are also dragons. You see, meaning that they are zoo types that are symbolic of the sun. Symbolic of the sun, no different than the dragon. But the dragon is the premier zoo type of the sun. So he can metamorphosize into the tiger. He can metamorphosize into and also the dragon and the phoenix are the two premier zoo types of the sun. You see, the falcon also, you're talking about the premier falcon, dragon, phoenix. You see, those three are the premier. Okay, and so you see the eye within the orb is the dragon eye. So when you look, you see here, you see Suramon, okay, he was the antagonist. You see, but you always see him black in the center. He's symbolic of the sun. And so you see even their soul, which is etymology of the sun, is also etymology is no different than the soul of African people. See, because you cannot have a soul unless you are connected to the sun, to soul. That's where you get your soul. You're an extension of creation, of that primordial creation. So, if you got a soul, that means you are of primordial lineage. You ain't got no soul. And so we don't ask, we look at the reflection of how people look at themselves. And they know that they are not connected to the sun, so they do not have a soul. And so that's why when the white dragon look in the mirror, they are averse to mirrors. You see? White dragons are averse to mirrors, just like the Dracula. See, when they look in the mirror, they don't. So even the dragon, I seen pictures when I was doing the research. The dragon will look away from the mirror, have the mirror in his hand, and be looking the other way. Now mermaids, because the Naga, you see, the Naga. You have to understand. Sometimes dragons are in a metamorphic state, meaning they'll show to be half human, half serpent, as if they're in a metamorphic state. The mermaid is also symbolic of the dragon. You see, both the serpent and the fish got scales. You see what I'm saying? The frequency of the serpent he is in waves. When you see waves and you see frequency, is displayed in serpentine origin. And so that's waves. Its frequencies is measured in waves. And waves are symbolic of the serpentine movement, even the letters. And so we get back to wisdom. We get back to knowledge. You see, many of the letters are serpentine. You see, it's as if a snake is moving in particular. You see the numbers, the letters, serpentine. Okay? And so you see right there, so we getting back to the orb. And so you see in the movie, any of the Europeans who obtained the orb, you see, it was toxic to them. You see, it was toxic to them. They couldn't, it was so powerful. You see, it would dig down into their goddamn subliminal and bring terror to their ass. You see, the Cro-Magnon trying to access the power of the dragon. But see what it does. Let me see if I got it in here. Let me see if I got it down here. I believe I do. Yeah, here you go. Here I go. You talking about the ring of power. See, the ring of power. See, they know that our civilizations and cultures is powered by the cosmic origin frequencies. You see, melanin and solar energy. So when they came in, this is the Greeks and Romans when they came into Egypt. They thought they had something. You see, they thought they had something. They thought they had the technology. They thought they had the records of the universe. But see, what the ancestors knew that it was toxic to them. You see, that's why they burned down the Library of Alexandria. Not by that it was a mistake. They knew that, you know, the majority of it, they couldn't access it because the Africans did not give them the codification to access it. And then when they understood that most of it was solar frequency on the solar frequency, and they understood it was toxic to them, they knew it could be used as an instrument of warfare, you see, on them. And so it was, you know, what they could not access, they destroyed. You see? See, it wasn't just because it was a lot of information that could have been used against them. And so they destroyed it. And so when you see him with the ring of power, now this is what he's still sick looking. You can see the power, the lust of power is in his eyes already. You see, that's the Greeks and Romans when they got into Egypt. But see, when he put the ring on, you see, he began to transform. You see, it began to suck the fucking life out of his ass. You see, and we know it's the sun because it shows you that it's the sun. You see, it shows you that it's the sun. So understand that. So that's where it becomes demon, even though it means sun. It still means is an anti. You understand what I'm saying? Anti-representation coming from the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal. And see, it changed him into it. Eventually, you see, he became the golem, a created thing. A golem don't even have a damn soul. You see, even though solar energy is toxic to the golem, the lust for immortality drives him to a sadistic insanity and ultimately to his demise. You see, ultimately to his demise. Ultimately, let me get that right. I'll put it in there. You see, ultimately to his demise. And so they letting you know what it means. You see, they letting you know what it is. Okay? And so when you talk about soul, that's another divine etymology that reflects soul. It means it's the connection. And so when you see the soul, many times you'll see in ancient Egypt, you will see the sun disk inside of the body. You see, you have a sun on the inside too. You see, and the one on the outside is empowering the one on the inside, along with your spirituality. You see, the one on the outside is the one on the inside is also connected to the one on the outside. See? And so that lets you know. And so you see right there, it's no different. It's no different in the understanding. You see, it's no different in the understanding. Now, even when you talk about in Lord of the Rings, you talk about Mordor. See? Mordor. You see, this is where the evil, orcs. See, the dragon. See, but they're gonna wrap it in demonic mythology. So when you look at it, all you see is evil. Ugly ass, animalistic ass orgs, and that's what they're gonna do to it, just like they did with black. Everything black is evil. Everything that's black is ugly. You see, so they did the same thing with more. But you see in there, it's the double dragon. You see, or twice, Mordor, the double head dragon. You see, black, the black. Then so when you go into Europe, you see the more there. You see them got what? You see the eagle, the double eagle. Now, the eagle is also symbolic of the phoenix. You see he's black. You see, Mordor, the double-headed dragon. You see, that's what. And so, what does that mean symbolically? Also, when you look at the Nubian crown, you see the two serpents on the Nubian crown, symbolic of the two frequencies of the mind, the masculine and the feminine, the left and the right side. You see, and mastering both sides of the frequencies, mastering both sides. And so that's the double dragon in that one instance. You see, that dwell inside of you. You see, that dwells inside of you. And so now, again, we're starting to talk about, a couple of the root words, afi. You see, now, just like I said, afi, and we're going to get off into some of the words that, reflect that. And they down, they down in there. We're gonna break them down. 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 So you got Ophi, O-P-H-I, then you got Aphi or Seraph, like Seraphim, A-P-H-I, and then it could be flipped. It could be flipped. Instead of O-P-H-I, it becomes I-P-H-O, and then it becomes Y-P-H-O. You see, they'll flip it like Griffin. You see, they'll spell Griffin, G-Y-P-H-O-N. You see the O-N on the end of it too. You see, so there's more than one etymology in there to prove it. You see, and so when you talk about Aphi, Apophis, you see Apophis in there. Make sure everything is Gucci. Okay, all right, we're Gucci. We're in there. You see, okay, Apophis. That's Aphi. Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. If you're talking about constellation. Typhon. You see how they flipped it? You see the Y-P-H-O-N? You see the O-N on the end? You see? And so Seraphim. You see the A-P-H-I. And so you have to study as many words, and we'll get off into some as we move down. That serpentine. You see, that serpentine, improving it. Improving it. And so you see here Seraphim, this fiery serpent. Now, or you get origin, because the dragon is looked at what? As a creator deity. It's looked at it as a creator deity. And so you get origin. And so we showed you you see right here, you see the book, Dragon Orb. And what you see, the sun. They're showing you that it's the sun. And so the sorcerer, the true African sorcerer, is the one who is using the energy and frequency and power of the sun. They don't use that. See, the white dragon use blood. He don't use the sun. He ain't got no access to the sun. You see, when you put the sun on his ass, he gonna flee. And so you see right here, they always show you the orb. You see? They always show you the orb, but they don't have no ass. So when you look at the true sorcerer, which is the African Cushite, and you see his energy, you see what? The fiery serpent, and you see him reading from the spells. And you even in there, spell, you get L. You see, even in word, which is you use words to create spelling and spells. You see it in words, you get OR. You get the serpentine and professor. You see, you get the OR because they're the definition of wisdom and knowledge. And I'm going to show you where Yahweh was also depicted. You see, let's get down. Orcs. See, now this is coming from a diametric opposite. So they're going to look at it and they're going to show you that when we see divinity. But when they see it, they're going to see something demonic. They're going to see something evil. Now, even in scorpion, you see, now the scorpion is also an aspect of the dragon. Now, you see O-R and O-N in there. You see, you're not going to miss it. You see, they don't create these words by, mistake. Why so many of these words get the O-R and O-N in there? You see? Now, if you look in there deep enough, let me see. you can see where, they done moved it around in there. You see, they done moved it around in there. But you can almost spell Orion, and Orion is also, you see, the serpentine. You see? So you got Scorpion. And you got Scorpion dragons. You see? Oracle. Oracles. They're just like in sorcerer, oracle, one who could prophesize the future. You see? An oracle. And all the ancient oracles was African. Herodotus said that all the Greek oracles came from Egypt, Delphi, all the great, and even inside of that, one of the great oracles of Greece, one of the oracles was named Pythia from Python. See, Python, and you see the on in there. We're going to go over this on until you get it. You see? But this is not just no regular Python. Constrictor. You see the constrictor. You see? You're going to see the OR in there. Constrictor is another one of the terms. Gorgon. You see? The Titans, the giants that existed. So that related back because in Greek mythology, the Nephilim was the Titans. They were also called the Atlanteans. You see, these was the giants, but they come from the African bloodline. If it was them, they would have glorified it. They wouldn't have demonized it. But see, every one of them you're gonna see it got the solar symbolism in it, which is toxic to them. Okay, and so even when you go into this is in the Catholic that new serpentine theater they got over there. You see that they didn't build that look just like the damn serpent. Matter of fact, I got it in here. Let me see. Here you go. Here you go, right here. Here you go, right here. You see the orb. No different than you see the snake's eye. You see? And so, but when you check this shit out, it's serious now. It's serious. When you look at the new auditorium, you understand in the Vatican. You see it's made like the serpent. With the eye, when you go in the inside, you can see the two serpent eyes sitting right in there. But didn't they say that the Christ would be raised up on the cross? Like the brazen serpent, like the serpent was raised up on the pole. You see, when they disrespected God in the Bible, and he sent the serpents to bite them, and he said, and they cried, and to Moses to ask for forgiveness, and Moses cried out to God and begged him for forgiveness, and he said, in order to heal him, he said, put the serpent up on the pole, and everybody that looked at the serpent was healed. Many of them died, but when Moses put the serpent up on the pole, then those who looked up at the serpent was healed. And that was one of the only times in the Bible where what they call an idol was used in the replacement of Yahweh, where he used a idol to heal them. And it was the serpent up on the pole. And we'll show you Tahuti with the serpents up on the pole thousands of years before the Bible, where they got it from. You see? And so you see here, again, you seeing in the Vatican, you see him with the serpent. And so when and then you take that eye and you look at the one in Lord of the Rings, it's the same eye. But see, they ain't got no sun. And you can even see matter of fact, you can look at the top of it and see the sun right there. You see the red, and you see the Ouroboros going around the sun. You see, they know what it is. They not no goddamn fool. They know exactly what it is. You see, they know exactly what it is. Now, and since I'm here already, let me go on and drop this. Now, when you see right here, you see the dragon with the orb, and you see they're going to always show it many times to be red. Now, one of the aspects of the dragon that they show in many horror movies is the jinn. You see, and you see the jinn, you see the old wicked jinn, which ain't nothing but the dragon. And you see the wish master. What was he trapped in? He was trapped in I believe it was a red opal. You see? And so you got to see there, he's the dragon. You see? And the opal is also symbolic of the sun. You see, but in their respects, you see, they gonna flip it. It's gonna be blood. See, they ain't gonna, the dragon need blood. So when you talk about when you read and look up the opal, you look up the opal for thousands of years. Now this was a ruby, okay? But I believe let me see which one was in the movie. I don't know if it was an opal, but I used the ruby because it says something. It says something. It says for thousands of years, the ruby, we talking about the red gems. You see, and so another thing that show you that the dragon was a lover of treasure. Okay, he was a lover of treasure. Now, do I got that in? I believe I do. It might already be in there. You see, now here it say right here, the dragon pearl. You see the dragon pearl. You see, let me see if I got another one in there. When they say the dragon pearl, they being mystical. Many times that could be the moon. You see, because they were also, cosmic entities. So not only the sun, but in some respects, the moon. You see, some respects the moon. Now the pearl very well, but many times it just also, mean the sun. You see, so you see right there, the dragon inside the sun. You see the reflection here, the dragon in the sun. So the solar, the fire that the dragon emits is solar. Now look at this. Now you see here where you get it long before any chakras or any of that. You go to ancient Egypt and you see what? The sun inside, what they call the solar plexus. You see, sitting in the stomach area. You see, and that's why that's where your vitality come from. You see, that's where your source of power. And many times when you're uncertain and shit ain't right, you get to feeling that shit in your gut. You see what I'm saying? You get to feeling it in your gut. You see, but that shows you that there's a sun on the inside and the outside. In so many instances, what they call the sun could be the Naga pearl, the Naga egg, the Orphic egg. You see what they call the egg of creation. Okay? What they call the egg of creation. So that's the ancient Egyptian solar plexus. Now let me see if I can get to where the serpent is down there. Matter of fact, let me go down here some, and I could just jump back up if it's down here. Here it is. Well, no, that's just the libraries. I had it in there, but what I'll do is I'll just go snatch it up right quick. I'll just go snatch it up right quick. Let me snatch it up right quick. Because even in that Lord of the Rings, you see that one with the hobbits. They live in mountains. You see, they love treasure. Here go one. See, they love treasure. So that's where you see the jinn with the opal, the Naga pearls and all that. They love treasure. That's how you know it's a zoo. It's a zoo type of a people. And so when you start seeing the dragon, you see serpent, you see the pharaohs depicted as this is what they did. This is the etymology of that. This is the occult understanding of that. Okay, and so this was the one that they showed. Okay, they didn't let me get that one. Let me see. Let me get one more. I only need Only need one more. Let me see if they let me get this one. This is one say dragon treasure. You see, just to black it up. So you understand. Now, what's another synonym for treasure? Fortune. Fortune. You see? You see the OR in there. Fortune. You see? And so that's showing you that's symbolic of the dragon, because the dragon is a what? A lover of knowledge. Let me bring, a lover of knowledge. And I'm going to show you here the dragon with knowledge, with libraries, you see, with books. You see? This is where you get the connection to doctor, professor, word, spelling, and understand that L is also symbolic of the sun. You got to break it down. Spell, ailing. You see, but this is divine. See, the sorcerer used spelling, word, origin, dragon, language, etymology. You see, they wielding. They're wielding of solar frequency and energy. See, you see right there, doctor, sorcerer, professor. You see? No, I should have. Let me tell you, that's supposed to be OR. You see? And so that's what did I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? And many times the dragon is the sorcerer. Okay, is it, but it's in there. It's right. There with the OR right there, and it is ER. Okay. So you see the OR there, you see the O, and that's reflection of the knowledge, the love of books, the love of wisdom. You see, a love of wisdom. Now, when you look at it, when you talk about, because Horus, see, Horus is also an aspect of the dragon. You got to understand that, because he can metamorphosize. It don't make no difference the zoo type. You see, because you have to understand that that's the phoenix. The dragon is the phoenix. Both of them are symbolically the same. So the zoo type can change, but when the zoo type change, that's only mean that the dragon has metamorphosized. You understand what I'm saying? The energy of the zoo type is the same. The energy of the zoo type is the same. So you see Thor, and you see the OR in there, Hathor. You see Horus. You see? And again, when we looked it up, matter of fact, let me black it up. Let me black it up so we can see this. Let me see this. Now, okay, now, Fox. Fox the Phoenix. Let's black it up. Okay, let's black it up. Let me see if I can get his name in there. So you can, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So I can show you the spelling. I don't want y'all to think I made shit up. I'm gonna keep crushing till we get to understand it. So you can see that a lot is not even, if you reading this shit and you don't understand this, you ain't even reading this shit. You don't even understand what the shit mean. Goddamn, I mean, if you don't have the God vision, you ain't even got you ain't got no understanding. So you see that the Phoenix name was Fox. Fawkes. Okay, let's look at, let me put it in here for you, just so you can see exactly what it means. I ain't gonna play with you. I'm gonna drop it down. Meaning. Okay, let's see what it means. I had it the other day. I'm gonna get it right now. I don't want to stumble or nothing. Damn, man. Like they see me on this shit. They like, block this nigga. Put it in there. Okay, here you go. Here you go, right here. Here you go. Here you go. I don't need all that. Here you go, right here. But I see they didn't switched it up. Let me put it on in here. Let me put it on in here. Meaning of Fox. Okay. Surname derived from Norman French person name Falco, meaning falcon. Okay. So they tried I had even a colder one the other day. You see? So you see the Phoenix name is Fox. Surname derived from the French Norman French personal name Falco, meaning falcon. And you see the O-N, so that's what it means. The O-N is symbolic of the sun. You see, symbolic of the sun. So Horus, which is the falcon, you see the O-R in there is also the sun. Or the dragon. You see an aspect of the dragon. Both have the same attributes. And so when you see the falcon, or you see, it's just a metamorphosis of that same dragon energy, even Hathor. And that's why a majority of the serpents you see in ancient Egypt is the goddess. You see? And so we see that we did that. Now forge. See, forge. To forge means iron smelting. You see? Iron smelting. So also the dragon is what? Connected with the mountains. You see? Volcanoes. You see? Connected to volcanoes. Okay? Portal. You see, we talk about, let me throw that in there. Nightcrawler. See? Teleport. You see? Nightcrawler. Let me see if I can get a good one in there. Let me see. I'm on a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Let me see if they let me get that one in there. Yep. So you see the X-Men Nightcrawler, symbolic of the dragon. Got the tail and shit. What was one of his powers? He could teleport. You see? He could teleport. That's one of the aspects of the dragon. So forge, and you see all the deities that forge the universe. You see, out of fire, and Ptah was looked at as one who was of the forge. You see, that's the dragon. Now, look, now let's deal with matter of fact, I didn't get the other one, and I'm gonna have to get it. Where's that other one dealing with Yahweh? Nah, as we talked about the dragon being averse to mirrors. Now you see the African mermaid here. You can see she look in the mirror. She's not averse. You see, but when you see the Cro-Magnon, see here the one. But sometimes they do show them looking in it, but a lot of times they can't. You know, they have an aversion to mirrors. You see, they have an aversion to mirrors. So when you see them, you know, they're just like Dracula. So now, you know, a lot of times they blur the mirror, they didn't blur the lines. So you can't, you know, now this one right here. See, this one look away. Let me show you. But I know the science. And so sometimes they're gonna blur the line. They're gonna blur the line. So you can't, you know, because once they see you creeping up on the science, they're gonna blur the line. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, they let me get it. See how that one, the white one look away. You see, they look away, can't look in the mirror. Just like Dracula. You see, can't look in the mirror. And so that's how you could tell the white dragon versus you know, and so if you see them doing opposite of that, they blurring the lines. They hiding the codification so you won't understand that. You see, but it's no different than Dracula looking in the goddamn mirror. Matter of fact, let me see. I ain't gonna stay on that too much longer, but because you know, I got the facts. You know, they are averse to the mirror, but I'll move on because you know, but that's something that we can you know, we can dig into at a later time. You see, that's something we could dig into at a later time. Okay. Okay, here we go. We black hand. Nah, but I was still looking for that one with Yahweh. Let me see. It can jump right in my lap. It's like right there waiting on me. I say, God damn, the ancestors want me to drop it today. You see, so let's look at this. Now, this is coming from Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 22 states the following. Listen to me. If you come down and listen to me, it says, for a fire, this is Yahweh, this is God, is kindled in my nostril and burneth unto the depths of the netherworld and devoureth the earth with her produce and setteth ablaze the foundation of the mountains. For a fire is kindled in my nostrils. Now, let me show y'all what that looked like. Because I had it in there, and I had a nice one. Oh, here you go. I sure do. I still got it. See? I want to show you what a fire that kindles in my nostrils look like. That's what it looked like. A fire kindled in my nostrils. See? And so you see right there that Yahweh is depicted in the form of a dragon. Let me keep moving now, because that ain't the only one. Psalm chapter 18, I believe, and it's down here 9. It says, smoke arose up in his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth did devour. Coals flames forth from him. You see, smoke arose. This is Psalms chapter 18, 9. You see, And you had to get the Hebrew Bible because, see, they didn't took it out of there. They didn't took it out of there. But if you get the Hebrew, and I had to look for it because when I did the research and I couldn't find it, I said they lying. And then I found the Hebrew version of it that had it in there. Smoke arose up in his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth did devour, coals, flames forth from him. Now, this is God. This is God. So he's a dragon. He's depicted as a dragon. You see, he's depicted as a dragon. Let me keep dropping. Do I need anything else up? Nah, this is crazy. Because when I looked at, and then we're gonna move on to some other them because I know we heavy over here on this one, but we got to do it. We talking about the brazen serpent. So when you look at many of the medieval depictions of the brazen serpent, they ain't got a dragon up there. Now, this is the brazen. Most of the time, they show the brazen serpent as just that, a serpent on the pole. You see, a serpent on the pole, but in medieval, they show him as a dragon. You see? So they show you that they were into dragon worship. You see, even with the Hebrews, they were into dragon worship. God was looked at as a dragon. You see, all through the medieval, they show the brazen serpent. Oh, I knew when I do that, sometimes it'll kick out, it'll kick back in. Okay, we black in there. Let me get it back in there. I'll be dropping so much information, that motherfucker get to acting up. Okay. Get to acting up. And so that, that's one, and so right there. So we had to, I had to go hard on that. You see, and so we dealt heavy with we did the or, its etymology, the on as son. And so you see right there, aton. You see, aton, dragon, on. And not only that, it says out of, now it says in one of them, it says out of Egypt, Ham. Now, Ham is also symbolic of Egypt. Out of Ham, Blackness. Out of Egypt, I have called my son. So when you understand that Egypt in the Bible was referred to as the land of Ham, and we understand Ham to mean black. So it says, out of Blackness, I have called my son. Now, in this respect, we understand that it's supposed to be Jesus. But in the occult understanding, what it says is, out of Blackness, I have called my S-U-N. So it's a cosmic, and there's an anthropomorphic understanding. See, out of Blackness of ancient Egypt, I have called my son. So if he hid in Egypt, there's no way he could have hid in Egypt, the land of Ham, the land of Blackness, unless he was also black. You see? But in the occult understanding, metaphysical understanding, out of Blackness, Ham, which is the cosmic melanin, I have called my S-U-N. That's what that's. So it's more than one understanding. We already did with the Elohim, Mizraim, Philistine. You see, all of these is the Eem. And so, in the Bible, Egypt was referred to as Mizraim. Okay, and you see the Eem and all of his children. You see? Let me see if I can get that in there. It is. It is right here. Okay. Bingo. Bingo. Here we go. Let me make sure everybody in that's supposed to be in, family. Okay. Okay. Boom. So when you look at the bloodline, you see the Eem. Now, where's my scroll at? So I can run this down real quickly. Let me run this scroll. Let me get this scroll. I got it. I got the scroll. We back. We black. We black. We black. Now, let's deal with this now. Let's deal with this. Had to go to get the scrolls. Had to go get the scrolls. Had to get the scrolls. Okay. Now I'm dealing with this scroll. It's called the Black Biblical Heritage. Now, you had to go in. And he using outside references that blacks it up. And I did the research, and so it's true. You understand? I don't, unless I do the research. Now, in Hebrew, names ending with the "im" are usually applied to angels and giants. You see, the Negro Egyptians reached a height of 8 feet, according to the Hebrew cubit, but over 11 feet in agreement with the Egyptian cubit. You see, and so in Hebrew, the names ending with "ims" are usually applied to angels and giants, but not just also angels and giants, but God himself, Elohim. Now, another one, if you look over here in Nimrod, see, you got to be looking. You see, you got to be looking. You see Nimrod. You see the Im. You see, and you see within. Now, what they don't say is that Nimrod was also looked at as a giant. You see, he was also looked at as a giant. And so when I looked up in dealing with this, it says in this is page 48 in the same book. It says in many Bible versions prior to the 1611 King James version, Nimrod is described as a giant hunter. So the Im is symbolically meaning giants. You see? And so now understanding that the Nephilim came came from the angels, supposedly sleeping with the daughters of men, and out of that relationship came the giants. But as the brother gonna reflect, that Nimrod was referred to as a Nephilim even before this even happened. You see, it says in many Bible versions prior to the 1611 King James version, Nimrod is described as a giant hunter before God. However, this description was altered by Jewish and Euro scholars to mighty hunter. You see, in hopes of discontinuing an old belief that Nimrod was an offshoot of the Nephilim, the giants, who were half angels and half human. This belief occurred from the fact that in the Bible, the initial mentioning of the word Nephilim is firstly applied to the hybrid celestial being and the Ethiopian Nubian Nimrod, you see, who were the heroes of their times. The conception that Nimrod was half angel and human, became too much to bear, which induced the Jewish and Euro priests to alter giant hunter to mighty hunter. You see, and so I looked it up. I said, let me see if that's true. Let me see if I can go into the Bible and find where it stated that. And I did. I went and I got on the internet where they, no, that's not the one. That's the one that deal with the when the Nephilim came on. Where is that? It is. I got the wrong one. And it deals, this is when I looked it up, I just put in giant hunter and it came up. Genesis 10:9. This is Benson's commentary on this. Nimrod was a mighty hunter, but in the Septuagint, it is he was a giant hunter. The Arabic has it, he was a terrible giant before the Lord. You see what I'm saying? And so this shows you that they looked to the Nubian, the Egyptians, as giants on the planet, and the Nephilim being the direct lineage of God. And so these are the Nubians. You see, these are the Nubians and the Egyptians. You see, and ain't no difference in them. One just darker than the other. Both of them dark. You see, both of them dark. You see, and so when we look in the Bible, we clear that Egypt is referred to as Mizraim, and his children, and he was the son of Ham. You see, the son of Ham, and Egypt was referred to as the land of Ham. Okay, which means black. Matter of fact, is it? Let me see some. Might have it in here, might not have it in here. But that's okay. That's okay. We made that. And so, some of the great, we understand Elohim, Mizraim. You see, Philistine. You see, Cush and Rissathim, who was, and we understand Cush to be Nubia, Ethiopia, who was the first oppressor, who was the king of Mesopotamia. Who was the king of Mesopotamia? Let me get that, so you can see this for yourself. And so that show you that what we talked about over there in Iran and Iraq, they wasn't over there. That's an extension of Cush. They wasn't over there. Let me see. Here you go. And I showed you, and I showed y'all already, but I just showed this one because this one was like, this one had all the smoke. For people that wanted all the smoke, we got the smoke. You see right here, you see the giants. You see, and you see him today, and you see the brother to the left, on the left, Egyptian. You see he's twice the height of two Africans, and you can see to the right, you see the brother. This is the Nephilim. You can see the sister up to the ain't even up to the brothers uh uh to his waistline. So you can see it would take two of her. So it's right in exact. It's depending on what you choose to call a giant. We know what it is. Now, going back to the serpent. And so the serpent was also looked at as a form of music, wisdom. Who was the god of music in the Greek? Orpheus. Orpheus. So you see the horn is also symbolic of the serpent. You see? So music. You see? Music. Matter of fact, let me get up here and do this so I can drop this while, let me drop it while it's hot. Do I got it in there? But let me drop this too. Let me drop this. Because a lot of times we got to look at the serpent as also being, we also understand that it's solar energy, frequency was also a and so when you see many times when you look at the sun, you see that the energy of the sun is depicted in what? In waves, in serpentine energy. You see, in serpentine form. So when you see the frequency of the sun is coming down in the frequency and the formation of the serpent. And then you see as it come down, you see it sits on the seat of the soul. You see it sits right there on the pineal gland. That's why you always see the serpent with his tail coming from the sky. You see, he's descending. You go into you can see here, descending from the sky. You go into the Asian peripheral, Cushites. You see the serpents, nagas on the roof, as if they're descending down from heaven. You see, descending down from heaven. Wherever, let me see. Here, this is another one. You see here, this is also in I believe, I don't know if this what particular country this is. You see the dragon with his tail to the sky, descending from heaven, because he's symbolic of God. He's symbolic of the sun. You see? And so you see, and you already know that, when you look at our people, you look at, and for the brothers, we got the spiral. And that's another term, spiral. Spirit. You see, and you see our hair is spiral, coil, the serpent coils. And you see what when you brush the coils down, they still become 360s. They still spirals. You see, they still, when you brush them down, they become spirals. You see, and so what this energy and frequency and sound, what is it measured in? Waves. Waves. And that's what brothers, and whether they coils or whether they locks, whether they brush waves, all of those are spirals. That's our frequency. That's our energy. You see? The serpentine, the coil, the waves, the spirals. That's what it is. You see right here, sound. And so that's why, because, the serpent is also a patron of music. And you see our hair. You see? Where'd it go? Okay, you see our hair is an antenna. You see, coil, spiral. And so they took the spiritual, the cosmic, you see, forerunner to all energy and frequency, our hair, and then they made the technological antenna from the very aspects of our hair. Look at it. There's no damn doubt about it. There ain't no damn coincidences in nothing. You see? You see? And so even when you see them and they blocking the sun, they put their hands on your crown chakra. They put it on the brow chakra. And he doing too. He blocking the sun at the same time. You can see his face, red as hell. You see? So he trying to block you and he trying to block his goddamn self too. You see? And so you see the serpent is depicted as the sun. Okay? You see the serpent as a frequency and energy from the sun. You see, descending from the heavens. And you see here also, you see the letters. We also said because the serpent is looked at as one of wisdom, of libraries, of books. And you see the letterings, and which you get the letters, you get the spelling, which you get the spells. You see words, you create words with letters. All the letters are serpentine. You see, all the letters are serpentine. And so even the numbers are serpentine. So this is where you get words. This is where you get numbers. This is where you get spells. This is where you get spelling. You see, all coming from the patron of wisdom, the dragon. You see, we got to break this down. And we run it. We run it. We run it. Now, let me calm down on this. Now, Again, now you got the OR, but let's deal with, let's tighten it up now. Because so now we understand another variation of that is more. Is more. You see? Now, in it, one instance, it means black. In the other instance, it means the dragon. But in another instance, it means what? The sun. You see, because the dragon is only a zoo type, but a sun. And so one of the terms of not just more was Moro. You see, Moro, where you get Morocco. You see Moro, Oro, what you get Ouroboros. You see Ouroboros. And the most ancient form of the Ouroboros was in ancient Egypt in dealing with King Tut. Ouroboros. Let me get it in there. Ouroboros. Let me drop that in there. Oh, there it is, Tutankhamun. And that's the oldest representation that's been manifested on the planet. Other Ouroboros is the sarcophagus of Tut. Here it is. Here it is right here. That's a nice one too. Hopefully they let me get it. They don't want me to get that one either. They be blocking them. But that's all right. I'll take a picture of it. Ain't no damn problem with me. I just want to move quickly. So, you know. Well, I showed you the Ouroboros with the young African child in there, but that's not okay. Let me see if I can get this. I think I can get this one. I can get this one. Okay, there it is. So that's the Ouroboros. But see, you see Oro in Moro, and what you see in Morocco. You see what I'm saying? You see in Morocco, Comoros. You see Lumeria, Mauritania, Maria. You see them, and that I'm gonna have to deal with that one on another level. That's another one, Mari. You see Maur, and so you see the Murian dynasty over with the Kushite. Now you get the Mu. Now another thing, and so you know, and this is extensive, man. Is extensive. You know, it'll take me days because also you get the U. Because at one time, worm, if you go into the old English, it was with a U. It was spelled WURM. Matter of fact, let me show you. Let me not just tell you. Let me show you. See, you see it spelled W, and then they got the let me put it in there. See, they spelled it at one time with a U. You know, the one of them was the worm glaciation period. Let me show you. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Let me see what it says. Worm or worm. Now you see in worm. See now again, because we dealing with serpentine, right? And it just dawned on me. It didn't click. I didn't do that at first. But see now I look at it. See what I'm saying? Because it's serpentine. You get worm. You see the OR in there. Black it up. I guarantee you that's the root of it. You understand? Worm, WORM. Okay? Now, and they blacken it up. What is the difference between worms and worm? It really no different. I would have. You see, what is worm in English? And when you spell W, and I could take it spell it WORM, so it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So that you are like Chaldea, and you know what I'm saying. You got to understand when you understand, you break that shit down, it'll open up a portal and take you someplace. And it ain't just that you had to black it up. You had to go do the research to see if what it is true. You see, and so when you see right there, it said, "What's the difference?" But that wasn't the one I wanted. That ain't the one I wanted right there. It was in there. Okay, there it is right there. It says, "What is worm?" WURM in English. A worm is a small thing, so it's the same thing. And so that's why when you also get more. With the you see not what them niggas talking about, but see it means water. You see, and just like the naga is a water serpent, you see what I'm saying? So you got the serpent there, but it's a water serpent. You got some dragons that are water dragons. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what, and you got, and so Mauryan Empire in India, and you got Mauritania. So you see from east to west that the symbolisms is the same. Okay, it is the same. Now, when you go into Japan, Orochi in Japanese, serpents. Ouroboros, Orochi in Japanese, serpents. You see, and so when you come in and you break down Morpheus, you see. Now the thing is, when you look at Morpheus, a lot of people don't see he got on the reptilian jacket. You see, he got on the reptilian jacket. You see, serpentine, showing you that he's the dragon. Now, let's break this down. Let's get off in now. You got also you got Cameroon. You see, you got Cameroon. Now we dealing with Kim. You see, we dealing with Ham. See, now that could be spelled different ways. Now we just dealt with the Eem. You see, we just dealt with the Eem, but even with that, you got Him. You see, which like Elohim, the H in front is also significant. Because the Him is also Ham. Because you have to understand the vowels is interchangeable. So when you add the H in front of it, you see, not only are they giants, they're black giants, just like Moro. You see, or more. Not only are they black dragons, they're black dragons. You see, not only are they dragons, they're black dragons. You see, and so when you put the Eem and you add the H in front of it, Elohim, the Him is also Ham. The Him is also him, Bethlehem, the house of blackness. So the Him and so the Elohim is all, and you see El up front, El. We also El. Now, ain't no coincidence that's where you get the serpentine, where you get El, E-E-L. You see? And so he's also serpentine. So Elohim, you see, that means he's black. He's black. He's God. He's a giant. He's symbolic of the dragon. You got all of that in there. You can break it down. You got all of those attributes in it. It's God. Ain't going to be no one attribute. It's going to be a lot of attributes. So you see that the him is when you change, you can also change the front letter from H to K. And so a lot of times you can see Kemet spelled K-I-M-I-T. Then you'll get Kemet K-A-M-A-T. Then you'll get Kemet, K-E-M-E-T. Then sometimes they'll spell it K-H-A, K-H-M-E-T or A-M-E-T, because there's no vowels. It's interchangeable. So they try to fool you by the flipping the variations so that but it's rooted in the same terminology. Giant, black. You see? So you see here, cham. See, ham is also cham. You add the C in front, champa. You see, Naga champa. You see, Cham was also a civilization in right next to the Mon Khmer. You see the Mon Khmer where you see the great citadel of Angkor Wat. You see, and so Cham was next, and so you get samurai. See, you can have ham, you can have cam, you can have cham. All of those are reflective of black. You see, and I can black it up. I can show you and run you through it. But we'll be going on and on and on. I'm showing you the etymology of divinity. What did they say about the samurai? You got to have what? One drop of black blood. I don't know how you just going to get one goddamn drop. I don't know how you're going to get one drop. You see what I'm saying? But that's what they say. You got to have one drop of black blood. How you going to have one drop? You see? And so so you get Hammurabi, who was the lawgiver of Mesopotamia. You see the Mu in there. You see? You break it down. You see the Ham, black. You see the Mu in there. You see the in there. You see the Mu and the symbolic of more. Both Ham and more, symbolic of black, symbolic of the dragon. You see Hammurabi. You also get Rabbi in there. You see what I'm showing you where they stole it from Abraham. Not Abraham, Abraham. And Ham is also reflective of ancient Egypt. Egypt was referred to as the land of Ham. So you see how many portals open up in one word? How many portals open up in one word? Bethlehem. Beth, house. Lee, of, Ham, house of Ham, house of blackness. Mohammed. Hamilcar, which was the father of Hannibal. The Alhambra, which is the citadel of the Moors in Spain. Alhambra. You see right here, Hammurabi, the log coming right out of, also the great Nimrod, the giant hunter of the Nubian ruler, founder of Mesopotamia. You see? And you see Hammurabi, samurai. You see the Hamu, the Samu, Hamu, Samu. You see? Ra. It's damn near the same word. Hammurabi, damn near the same as samurai. All you had to do was add the B. Samurabi. You see? All you had to add the B in there. Samurabi. It's the same origin. You see? Breaking this shit down. Hamilcar. You see, father of Hannibal. You see, and they was Phoenicians, Canaanites, come from the lineage of Ham. Muhammad, showing the ancient Egyptian origins of Islam. Let's run down through here. Now, when you get in over in the Hindu Kush, you see Kala. You see Kala, okay, which is another word that means black. But one of the words that they use for it is Yama. See, over there, you get Ham, you get Sam. It don't mean the the Im. It's reflective of African people, Yama. You see? Now, it said right there, it is a Kala, is a word used in Sanskrit to mean time. The Tamil word Kalam refers to duration, an interval of time. It is also the name of a deity in which sense is not always distinguishable from Kala, meaning black. It is often used as one of the various names or forms of Yama, Hama, Kama. Don't make Sama. It don't make no difference. That root carries all through the Asian African language. And wherever you go, it means black. It means black. Okay, so when one of the names of ancient Cambodia was Cambodasia. Kimbo Deja. You see it? Kimba. You see Kimbo Deja. Kemet. You see? And so you see that the Kushite language is still very prevalent in the so-called Asian language. It's the root of it. We did alchemy. We did alchemy coming out of coming out of the black arts. It ain't just the black, because why? Because it was the sorcerers, the black, the kings and queens, the black with the orb coming out of what? King Arthur, Camelot. Camelot. You see? Cambodasia. Cam. See? Here's spelled Kimbo Deja. Here's spelled, and these is coming from what? The Asian. So you can see the E and the A is interchangeable. It's interchangeable. The Khmer, Mon Khmer Empire. Khmer. See? Now let's get down here. Let's get down here. Let me go on and go out with the all-powerful Naga, Negus. You see, you get Negus, you get Naja with the J, even though the J wasn't until the 16th century. You see? And so, you know, the pronunciation of the J, so it's not Niger. It's not Niger. They don't want to tell you the ancient terminology. It was nigger. You see? You didn't get no J, the sound of the J, until the 16th century. So when you see Niger in Rome, it's nigger. That's what it's pronounced, but they don't want to tell you that. They don't want to tell you that. And it means black, and you had emperors named nigger, Pesinius nigger. They don't want to tell you that. There is no expression of the J into the 16th century. Nigger, niggas, nagas, and more variations of that terminology. You see? And so you see Feta Nagas, law of Nagas, law of the kings. You see? Negus Nagas, king of kings. Negus, king, Nagas, kings. You see? Plural. You see? Siniga. You see the Niga, Senegal. Niga, N-E-G-A, N-E-G-A, Senegal. So you see it was there long. You see they trying to play with you. You see niggas. So when you got Nagas as niggas as king niggas with an I, N-I-G-I-E-S-T, N-I-G-I-S-T, niggas, Eleni, Queen Eleni. You see? And so even there, you got the I, you got the E, you got the A. The vowels is interchangeable. You see, now you got Wallace Budd Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary. They didn't want to put this in there. See, because all these niggas was talking about don't say nigga, this, that. And then they say they read the Madunata. Then when I go in there and say, well, this is what I see in the ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary from Wallace Budge, he got one in there. Neg-er. N-E-G-G-U-R. You see that U-R again pop up. You even see neg and egg inside of that. The goose goddess who laid the sun egg. Neg-er. Neg-er. But they don't want to use that expression. You see, they don't want to use that. And you see many other neginka-u, neginka-u, negu. See, negu, the doorkeeper of the first pylon. Neg, the four-horned bull god of heaven. Negu, we already did that one. Now let's black this up. Now we're going into Drusilla Dungy Houston, the wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire. And we dealing with, we're going to start on page 221. We're going to go to page 222. And it says, now let's read now. It says, one non-Aryan chief described this race as a fearful swiftness, unyielding in battle, in color like a dark blue cloud. This old type is represented today by the compact masses at the south. These Dravidians constitute 46 million of southern Indians today. They represent the unmixed Kushite type. All the rest of the blood of India is heavily mixed with this strain. These Dravidians that they untruthful book seeks to represent today as despised outcasts, when they are still a very important division of the Hindu population, enter India in primitive times by the Northwest Passage. Okay, part of that advancing wave of the old race that swept eastward and westward people in primitive Arabia, Egypt, Chaldea, the rich merchants of the ancient Egyptian commerce had been Dravidians. One of their greatest kingdoms was Pandya, so noted in the Sanskrit writings, the Nandas and Bihar, of whom the great Chandragupta sprang, and his greater grandson Ashoka were non-Aryan. These were the supposed to be degraded. Listen, see, that's another one. Sudra, as in Sudan. You see, as in the Sud. You see the Sud swamps. Now listen, the Tashaka, now they say Tashak, but it's also spelled Tashaka, and the Naga nations, who figure so largely in Sanskrit traditions, are words purely African. See, they don't want to bring up one of the great prophetesses, researchers of African history, the mighty Drusilla Dungy Houston, who said that Naga is a word purely African. So when Seti brought it up and said that nigga was Naga, people saying that thing had no relevance, no connection. And then I brought you Drusilla Dungy Houston, and I ain't heard from nigga since. I ain't heard from them. When I went in there and showed where Wallace Bud said nigger was one of the creator gods of ancient Egypt, I ain't heard from niggas since. You see, they believe in the metal netter until they seen that nigger. That one wrong, but all the other ones right. What kind of shit is that? And then we talk about Naga Sudan. See, Naga Sudan. When you go to the map, what does it say? It say Naga. That's what it say. It say Naga. And then you got two cities, Benwa. So it's Naga was there. So I don't want you to think we copied and pasted. You see, the Sudan, the Nubians took civilization into that landmass that you call India today. Didn't we just say that the Greeks said that Susa of Elam was founded by Memnon, the king of Ethiopia? Didn't we say that? We said that. We blacked it up. And so you got Naga. Now, where did they find those Gnostic Bibles? In Africa. They found some Gnostic. What was it? Nag Hammadi. Now look at that. See? Now you got the Naga, nigger, niggers, and you got the Hammadi. Now, if you take Nag, you got Nag Hammadi, and then if you take Nag Champa, Cham, because Cham and Ham is the same. I got the books, I got the back, I can black it up. So you got Nag Hammadi, you got Nag Champa, Nag Ham, Nag Cham, and you can't understand that this is all speaking to the etymology of black divinity. You see? And so this is where they find, so anywhere when you talk about Naga, Ham, and you speaking of divinity. You speaking of our people. This is what they speaking to. If you do not have the mastery of etymology of black divinity, nigga, you ain't even reading. You ain't even fucking, you wasting your goddamn time. Because it's layers to this shit. It's layers. You see? It's layers to it. And once you understand the etymology of black divinity, when you start to, from now on, when you start looking at work, you're going to start breaking them motherfuckers down like, wait a minute. That speaks to the dragon. That speaks to the blackness. That speaks to our people. Let me look at that. Just like when I dealt with worm, but I did, when I was doing my research, they did bring, but I was looking at so many words, I didn't even realize that worm had the O-R in it, which is serpentine, and you see why. You see, it'll start to prove itself to you. You see, it'll start to prove itself to you. Now, so you see right here, Egyptian Isis throne and Hathor. The Roman Isis carries the Hathor milk jug and sistrum and wears a cobra uraeus. You see? And so, and now you see right there, we just talked about We just talked about and you see uraeus, even there, the uraeus, you are uraeus, also serpentine. You see? Also serpent. So the OR is also the UR. The OR is also the UR. Uraeus is a Greek word possibly derived from the Egyptian she who rears up, like a cobra that rises up, ready to strike. In legend, Isis is the creatrix of the first uraeus. The uraeus species, now they say Naja, Haji, you see, was a symbol of lower. Now that's Arabic. See, they use the J. Now that's very significant. See, because listen, we got to have a part 2, family, because that's going to take you into the jinn. Because when you look at the jinn, all they are is spiritual manifestations of what? The Naga. They show them serpentine with the tail of the serpent. The only thing they're representing more of a spiritual aspect of the Naga. You see what I'm saying? Where the Naga has some physical materialism, the jinn is more of a spiritual serpentine entity. So you see with the J, you get Naja, Haji. And so that's where you get jinn. But also in the J, even though we understand the origin of it in the 16th century, this is where you get, they try to use the term Jehuti and Zolja. You see one of the great pharaohs, Zolja, and it was another DJ, Zolja, Jehuti. It's another one. It's in there. But that opens up also into the serpentine origin, that J. You see? And so, family, I didn't ran this down. I didn't got goddamn horse. You see what I'm saying? I didn't got goddamn horse. We'll have a part 2 to this. And because we can go on and on and on and on. You see, but I want y'all to manifest. I want you to go over this. I'm gonna go over it too, and then the next time that I bring the smoke, I'm gonna take y'all into the other. I'm not gonna weigh heavy on the areas, only the areas where I was light in, and then I'm gonna take you into the other understandings. You see, because there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't say. It's only so much, and then you will have brain overload. You see, you will have brain overload. But I want to thank you for coming out today. You see, y'all see the general was on fire today. I wasn't even breathing. When I got them, I was pushing. You see what I'm saying? Because I was ready for the day. I knew the energy. You know what I'm saying? That it would. And now, watch what I tell you. If you keep watching this, I'm gonna tell you. Every time you start looking at words, well, them ones that belong to us, and I got to get you the top 20. You see, once you get them, everything else is primarily offshoots. And once you get them 20 suffixes, prefixes, etymologies in your head, and you start reading, every time you see that word, that prefix, you gonna say, let me do some research. Wait a minute. I see that. Let me see if that's an attribute. And you're gonna do, and it's gonna shock you that you're gonna find out that your intentions was true. You see that urge to wonder is what said. And you're going to do the research and you're going to find out that it's true. And when you start to read from now on and you understand etymology, even from their side, not just from our side, when you understand their side, you see what I'm saying? And you understand the etymology most of the word origins where they demonize and shit and this, that, and the third. And you will look on this side and you will see that it's sacred to us. You will look on their side and you'll see that is evil to them. No different that they done to black. They done to a lot of key words that are sacred to our people. I want you to wake up, family. Thank you for being here today. This is the General Sarah Sunsetti. I want to thank my family from Patreon, from the memberships on Sarah's YouTube page, and the family that paid through generalseti.ticket leap, and let y'all know that to the family that paid, that all the family members that, you know, on the other platforms are paying equally the amount that you paid for the lecture. I don't want you to think that I gave it to them or nothing. No, they paying the same amount that you're paying on that level. And so that's why, you know, maybe the next time you want to join the Patreon, join the membership, because you get more with that. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't, and you want to stay at the level that you are at, and you want to buy the lecture separately, that's still all right. Make it work for yourself, family. I ain't trying to, you know, make it work for yourself, you know, but we appreciate you, however. Okay. This is the General Sarah Sunsetti. Check us out, kingseti.com, generalseti.com. We got some powerful information over there. We got some powerful SETI wear over at kingseti.com, t-shirt, African and Kemetic jewelry. Check us out, family. We got so much, much more. Thank you, family. Black Power.